If you've been on my website, you will notice that I don't have an RSS feed. I don't link one and I don't create one, and there's no RSS feed. And which is kind of, if you're in this kind of space of like free software and stuff like that, it's kind of strange to not have an RSS feed, I think. Because most sites have one. And in this video I want to talk about why I don't use or offer RSS and why I think you should also not use it as well. First up, let's get this out of the way. RSS is much better than proprietary alternatives. RSS, and what I want to say right off the bat, RSS is fine. Like, it's a fine protocol. It does what it does perfectly fine. I mean, well, it's XML, but it's like technically it's great. It's fine. That's not my point here. And so yeah, obviously RSS is much better than proprietary alternatives. So yeah, with that out of the way, I want to say only because something is technically possible doesn't mean it's like good or should be done. And I think this is really my main point with RSS, because only because you can like technically subscribe, you can have like a protocol which fetches a file every interval and looks for differences and then displays new differences. Only because it's like technically possible doesn't mean that the effects of that on you as a person are like good and that you should use it. And I also obviously let me also say this, I don't want to like I don't know, shame anyone or think that's like morally wrong to use RSS or some nonsense like that. Obviously not. I think it's like a personal thing, of course. So yeah, because yeah, only because something's technically possible doesn't mean it's good. And what an RSS feed or any feed really is a pipe with like content, like a literal pipe. At least that's how I think of it. And there's like content inside of it, and there's new content that's always like coming after the old content, and you're kind of like bombarded with like content from like different streams, so different feeds and stuff like that. And yeah, and you really are in a like position of consumption. So you as a consumer, well, that's not a word. Consumer, it should say. So you really are the consumer, and this kind of like, this is another one of those points where it's kind of weird to even talk about it because it's so obvious. Of course, you are consuming the content. That's what this whole thing is about. But I think it's like a kind of passive state. So you're not really like choosing, okay, what do you want to do? But it's rather just presented to you like on a plate. So really, you really don't have any control over that. Oh, you don't really have any control over what gets displayed to you at what time, if that makes sense. So let's say, and I mean, I have like, I've had like lots of like situations where I was, and not just with RSS, but rather just with, yeah, kind of fetching information in general, where it kind of, well, you know, when you get like a message that you really wish you just hadn't read, like a bad message about something, I don't know, some stuff, and you're really just like, well, that kind of now ruins my mood. I wish I hadn't read that right now. And I think it's the same thing with RSS as well. It kind of has control over, well, what information you have like in your brain and what you do and how you act and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of my main point. Whether the question should be, what do I want to do? So do I want to watch a video, or do I want to know if this person has written a new article or released a new video or stuff like that? Like, what do I want to do? Not what's like technically presented to me, or what's like technically news and stuff like that. So I think this should rather be the question, and the obvious solution to all of this is just bookmark stuff. If you like some website or some channel or stuff, just bookmark it within your browser, or like some like cross-platform synced solution, or if you hack your own stuff together with like and I do this is how I keep bookmarks, with like an org file, so Emacs org file, and like a Git repository, and just sync it with Git. And I have this on my phone as well. I don't really use bookmarks on my phone, but whatever. Or just like another thing I have is like a simple chat with like XMPP, where I just sometimes send stuff over and stuff like that. That's normally how I do stuff. And at this point, it doesn't really come down to like mechanical consumption, you could say, but more just like saving stuff that's like important to me or that's interesting to me rather. So yeah, I think the whole point here is to consume with like intention, quote unquote. And intention is another one of these like kind of I don't know, overused words, I think, in like some in like some like spaces on the internet, I would say. But it really is about intention, like intentionally thinking about, okay, what do I want to do, and why do I want to do this, and or what do I want to consume and why, and stuff like that, and not just mindlessly like opening your RSS feed. There's a new video, let's just watch that because I don't know, I need something to fill the emptiness of my brain or something like that, and also consume less. And I think this is also like a important thing, because most of the stuff that like most people nowadays like consume is junk, right? Like frankly. And I mean, I include myself in that. And like there's a lot of stuff where you just want to have like something on, like someone talking about something and stuff like that. And I think that's a lot of it. And I think the effects of that are pretty bad. And they're not like immediately obvious with like, as with like, I don't know, drugs or something, but I think there are consequences to like always having some video on, or always like consuming some content or stuff like that. And I think the point is that one effect is that it kind of removes you from yourself to a certain degree, and it also removes you from the like environment and context you live in, and because you're always somewhere else with your mind. And I mean, I think this is most notable when you're like watching a movie and you're kind of sucked into the movie. You're kind of sucked into this like reality, which is not a reality, which is just like a projection, a like fake world, a matrix, in some sense. You're kind of sucked in, and like when the movie ends, you're kind of awake, and you're kind of like back in your own life. And you kind of think, well, okay, it kind of like places you in this like almost like paralyzed state of consumption. And I think to get back to RSS, I think RSS facilitates that, because it just makes like receiving new content more efficient, but but that's not a good thing, because that's like a mechanical, you have subscribed to this feed, there's some new stuff, there you go. It's not about you, because obviously the RSS feed can't know what you want to do. Obviously. We're not at that point. Let's just say that. I mean, maybe we'll get to the point of like some GNU Linux brain chip which can like sync your thoughts to your RSS feed. Maybe we'll get a free software Neuralink, or what it's called. Okay, but that's a bit off topic. So I think that's about it. And that's another point. I don't have a slide for this, but that goes hand in hand with it kind of filters out. If you don't have a feed, a news feed, or an RSS feed, or even like something like YouTube or something yet, if you don't have a feed, it kind of filters out automatically what's like important to you, because you will, without like a stimulus from the outside, you will think, if something is important to you, you will think about it at like some time. You will think, well, I haven't read an article from XY in some time. What is he up to? Or you will think, well, maybe there's a new video. This was kind of interesting what this guy put out or whatnot. Let me look it up. And if that doesn't come, well, that's not important, obviously. So that automatically filters that out. And with an RSS feed, you just get all the stuff which maybe you don't even care about, really. But you have it there for some reason anyways. And also I think most RSS feeds are like kind of also for like technical stuff, for like I don't know, distros. I mean, most distros have like some kind of an RSS feed to like subscribe to some news or when something breaks or something like that. I don't know. I don't find that important, to be honest, because if something does really break, I will. I don't know. I don't think it's that important to know about that, like at the time it happens, um, or something like that. So yeah, I don't subscribe to any RSS feed. I don't use RSS at all, and I used to use it, but I don't know. It's just kind of it just kind of developed in this direction for me, where I just consumed less, and if I did watch or read something, it was like intentionally and because I wanted to do that, like at that time, and not because some program told me, well, there's new stuff, with like the implicit with like implicitly applying what do I want to say? English is a hard language. With like implicitly almost leading me to consume it because it's so easy. Because I only have to like click on the link to the new content or whatever. All right. So yeah, these were some of my thoughts about RSS and why I don't use it and I don't offer it and stuff like that. And I mean, it's the same thing with like also email newsletter or stuff like that. It's like the same thing with any kind of subscription, really. When it comes to like a content subscription where you're like notified of new content, because if it is important enough to you, you will look it up yourself. You will like, and I mean, this is also kind of stupid because it's so simple. I mean, this is there's no barrier really. The barrier is so low that for looking stuff up, if you have like bookmarked it, that it's really like it's like no deal. Yeah. And let me also say, when it comes to and this is the same thing with like analytics, and I talked about this in the analytics video, when it comes to like commercial stuff and wanting to like, yeah, earn money and stuff like that, this is kind of important. I mean, and this is the reason everyone has an email newsletter, because you of course want to hold people on like, on the leash maybe, you want to keep people like in the loop of what's happening, and you want them to be in your loop, of course, because if you have them in your loop, you kind of can shill stuff to them and whatnot. You can like sell your products and sell like, I don't know, stuff. So it's important to keep people in the loop, of course, even if it's not really relevant to them. And I think this is, I think most of the stuff is exactly that. It's not relevant to your life, it's not relevant to you, but I mean, it's kind of there, it's in your feed, you're kind of confronted with it, it kind of gets like, I don't know, pulled over your head without really your consent, I think. Well, with your consent, because I mean, you subscribe to it, sure. But I think, I hope you know what I mean. So yeah, I hope I haven't missed anything important about what I wanted to say, but if so, I'll maybe make another video on it. I hope this was interesting. Maybe, yeah, that was a different perspective on what you normally hear about RSS, because normally it's really about like, well, it's so great and you don't have to use these proprietary services and it's so minimal and lean, and don't use this bloated stuff like that, and don't use this bloated stuff and stuff like that, and like thoughts along those lines. But it's never about like questioning the thing that RSS does, even, or newsfeed in general do. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in this video. Alright, that's it. Have a nice day.